when I first moved here, I was in the South End. I went to the grocery store and I was like, this person looks just like my mom. And then they were speaking Spanish. And I was like, something's going on. I'm like, what is that?
Mis hermanos, whether Cubano, Dominicano, Boricua.
Zakia here, representing Black Boston.
Period.
And I'm here with the phenomenal Boston Poet Laureate. Former. Yeah, we're gonna don't sue us. The former Boston Poet Laureate, phenomenal artist, spoken word artist, and also co-owner of this lovely spot called JustBook-ish, which is not just a bookstore, but a community hub, a center for community intellectual conversations and just cultural connections. I see a book I have this book. This was pretty good.
Which one?
Love and Rage.
Oh,
he was here. The Path of Liberation. He was here.
Lamarant. You know, he used to work at Haley House.
I did not know that.
We talk about Boston, rich history and stuff.
Yeah. The Path of Liberation through Anger.
I know. I just was taking pictures of this book.
Yeah. A lot of people out here don't even think there's Black people in Boston.
Which I can't stand. That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Every time I tell people I'm from Boston, they be like, there's Black people in Boston?
There's Black people everywhere.
Facts.
Or it's like, that's so tired. But anyway,
you know, but you know, the people don't know. So I wanted to know from you, what does being Black in Boston mean to you?
Ooh, that's a heavy question. I think in part because I'm a transplant, right? So I'm like not originally from Boston, and also a Black person that has come here not by way of school, but by way of just choice, you know. On top of all of that, I'm also like a leader in the community. And so what does it mean?
You're not a leader. You're a leader.
Well, you know, I don't like hierarchies and all of that.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But, you know, I think about all of that in the context of like, what does it mean to come to somebody else's home and claim it as my own, right? So for me, it was interesting getting to know Boston because I didn't get to know it by way of an institution, but by way of community members. And like when I first felt like a part of the community and grounded in the communities, and when I was working with young people, like my students in Dorchester, second year I moved here, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I see who we are. I see Boston. But in the context of like what it means now, it's a heavy question. It's constantly, for me at least, knowing and being reminded of my own rich history in a city or a country or a world or an institution that is PWI, that is a predominantly white institution. So it's a constant, for me at least, a connection to my people and to my history and to like, there was a talk here last night from Kat Morris and she said, walk your talk. I think that was the last line of it. And so for me, I'm like constantly like I think about Black people all the time. I'm like, I'm the worst. And I don't think Black people could do no wrong. So period. So I'm always really like, that's just how I move. It's just what I think about. It's my framework. I'm like, I exist as an Afro pessimist, which believes that Africans are imports. You know what I mean? And unless we undo that or rethink about that, then we'll always be there, right? For me, my framework of living is at that intersection of Blackness and queerness and womanness. And so it just embodies everything I do, even when I'm around whiteness or teaching at an institution or building, I'm still like, okay, but is this for Black people? And if they're not there, what do we do to get them there? So I don't know. It's like a constant action for me. Yeah. And as a person who grew up in Chicago, it was less of an action in that it was embedded. Like it was just natural. Like actually I didn't see no everyone because I was on the South Side. You know what I mean? But for me, it's like conscious and a little bit effortless in that it's what I want to be doing, it's what I want to be thinking about, but also it's constant, you know? So I don't know if that answered, but it got us somewhere.
No, that's a great answer. And I think I would add to that one thing that is great about being Black in Boston and being relative to whiteness in this way is that we have to be intentional about how we show up in the spaces. And it does force us to think about our own Blackness and also when it's being compromised.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Period.
You know what I mean? So we ain't got no choice but to stand firm in it. You know?
Walk your talk.
Walk your talk.
think also just as a transplant, this is what I want. It also reminds me that, like, I don't know, we're connected to Black people across the diaspora, right? And so, like, that regardless if I'm from Chicago or from New York or from whatever, when I'm in Boston, Black people in Boston, that's my community. That's who I'm showing up for. And as a transplant, I'm like also thinking about, like, how do I show up for Black people who are born here, who like grew up here, and also understanding that wasn't me, right? So like that also informs my showing up.
Yeah. I mean, and you know something, speaking of transplant, one thing I do love about Boston that I noticed a lot of Black people in different parts of the country don't have as an experience is we have all types of Black people here.
It's true.
There are certain
that was a culture shock for me.
Yeah, like we have a lot of Caribbeans, we have a lot of Africans, we have Black people from all parts of the. There's not no one type of Black person here, and I think that's beautiful.
It really is. I mean, and that really is. It seems like the crux of the project, right? It's thinking about the Black diaspora, but it was definitely a learning curve for me. I like when I first moved here, I was in the South End. I went to the grocery store and I was like, this person looks just like my mom. And then they were speaking Spanish and I was like, something's going on. I'm like, what is this? So it was definitely interesting, and not obviously in a great way.
Yeah. So with the profound impact of Black people in Boston, what do you feel, what does it mean to you to have Just Book-ish in this neighborhood of Dorchester and in this community?
Yeah, I think part of me feels like a part of my inner child is healing. What I used to say, I am a nerd. I love books.
Period.
I write.
Same.
I've been this way my entire life. In high school, I would have to take an hour train ride downtown to go to the library. Or me and my friend would go to this bookstore. But there was nothing in walking distance in my house, near my house. And so I always had to travel to get to those things. Right now, I live down the street from the bookstore. I don't walk, but I could. Okay. All right. But yeah, it's this notion of like having this bookstore / cafe / spot where people can come that's in the neighborhood, where you don't got to leave your neighborhood if you don't want to. And like sometimes there are little girls that come in and they'll come in with friends and they'll like browse the books and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm going to get this. And I remember there was one time this girl who was maybe like 13 and she was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is here. Oh my God. And then she was like, I think this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I was like, oh, you should meet Frenchie. Like Frenchie's our bookstore manager. Wow. Frenchie picks out all the books. Frenchie is also we're all Black girls, right? But Frenchie's also a Black girl who grew up here and like we can see ourselves, and that was like, this is what I mean, and there's like a group, these other young people that come in and they just come and they grab a book off the shelf and they pop a squat and then they leave. They grab a sucker at the front and then they leave. But I'm like, you're the reason. There's like this one girl who gets tutored every Sunday. She comes and sits at the table. But those are the reasons. It's like, I remember having to leave my home, my neighborhood, my etc. And yeah, I'm just glad people don't got to do that. And also just as an artist, I'm like interested in providing space for artists. I feel like that's one of a resource that feels so difficult to get or so expensive. And we're not doing that.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that's different about this particular space because, we've had other, very important bookstores in Boston that champion particularly books of the Black diaspora and that center marginalized voices. But this has been framed as a community hub. So putting events on here, getting opportunities for different folks in the community to come together and have space with each other at a time when we're kind of encouraged to be isolated.
Yeah, especially after COVID too.
Yeah. So I think to me, that's another thing that's more even so powerful about the spaces. It's not just like coming here just to individually read a book, but also like be in community, be in space with other people who are nerds like you.
I know. Or not nerds. I want the people who only watch the film to come as well. You know what I mean? The people that's not reading the books. We figure out ways to get them there. Or I remember the last time, or one of the last times you were here was for that album release party.
Billy Dean, shout out to Billy Dean.
And I just wanted to be a vibe, and I think there are different ways to be intellectual, and that can be by way of music.
Yeah, and I'm glad you stated that because I feel like the different forms of intelligence Black people have are not the forms of intelligence that are valued or even seen as intelligence.
Come on.
In mainstream in white spaces.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I was gonna say I need that as a paper, but obviously we're getting away from that. We're getting
go
away
ahead.
from
No,
that.
go ahead, child. Make that paper. I want to read it because it's.
You said it. It was your thesis. No, but it was. I appreciate.
We'll co-write it. We'll co-write it.
Yeah.
But it's important because there's so many. It's funny because I was talking to my homegirl the other day because I have a homegirl.
Period.
I'm not gonna say her name because I don't know if she wants me to tell the story. But my homegirl is a playwright, right? And not just a playwright, but she writes musicals, all sorts of things. And she didn't go to school for it. And she noticed that in the industry that she's in, which is very much like the musical theater realm, it's like people value that academic education, but yet being able to learn an instrument and learn how to write on your own, to me, is like low-key cooler.
No,
like,
it is. You are really that girl.
You know what I mean? And I feel like there's so much, with Black people in particular, so much of our knowledge is just
innate.
Yeah. And it's felt, and that's so freaking powerful. And because it can't be articulated in a particular way, it's not acknowledged. And I think, I get emotional.
No, you're making me think about so much. But we recently started uninstitutionalized education opportunities. So speaking of playwright, we have a playwriting class offered in January this month, where it's taught by somebody in the community, and you just write a 10-minute play at the end of 5 weeks. But like those are the moments I'm interested in. And now you are making me think about how do we validate some of the forms of intelligence that are often not validated, right? But yeah, so much.
There's so much. And you know what? I want to ask you something too, because we're in the bookstore. What was your last favorite read?
That's hard. I mean, my last read is called All Spirits Come from Water. And that's been really good. That's been life-changing. I think that one of the books that I call my Bibles is Christina Sharp's In the Wake, in which she theorizes that Black people are in the wake of slavery or in the aftermath of slavery, and positions wake and all of these different definitions. But that's absolutely one of my favorite books. I mean, that is, one of my favorite books is also Parable of the Sower. Okay,
yeah, of course.
Easily. But something about In the Wake really reframed how I think about Blackness.
Beautiful.
Or rather, how I think about this country as it relates to Blackness.
Yeah.
But have you read it?
Which one?
In the Wake.
No, but I'm gonna put it on my list. My last couple favorite reads. Have you read Attic Child? And so I'm so mad I can't remember the name of the author because this book was just so phenomenal. When I tell you,
Fiction oh no, I love a good sob.
Listen, and my mother was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like,
"Wait, is it fiction? What's it about?"
So, without giving too much away, right?
Yeah, no spoilers, please.
There's this young child, this young African boy. A deal was made. It's actually like after slavery, after official slavery. But this deal was made that this young African child was going to go live with this white man in the States, and it's actually 2 different timelines. So it's so it's starting there, and then it's also like in the 90s. And it's these 2 connected stories, but you don't know it at the beginning. Although I love that. Did already say that, but spoiler. But you don't know how they're connected, so it's okay. But it was just such beautiful storytelling, and also in the end, just kind of left me feeling like not just gratitude, but also like hopeful. And for me, that's important with fiction because I'm like, the world is sad enough. I know, you can't be talking to me. You cannot talk to me. I'm like, we have enough sad stuff in the world.
Sometimes people will be like, "Oh, you have any book recommendations? I need something light." And I'll be like, "Here's my favorite book. It's called Heavy." And I'm like, "Porsha, why did you just do that? You shouldn't be doing that." But no, I think hope is extremely important. Radical hope.
Radical hope. And something, another book I recently read that's like a remix of Disney stories is Cinderella is Dead. I like that. I really like that. You know what I'm saying? Because
I kind of love that.
You know what I mean? And it's like 200 years after Cinderella has died. and it's this story about how like they've used the fantasy of Cinderella to kind of control women, and the whole concept of the Prince Charming and everything. But it turns it inside out.
We love it.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
called Cinderella's Dead.
Cinderella
I have to look it up.
You know what I'm saying? So it was really good.
I'll take recommendations.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Porsha, for having me.
Thank you for having me. What?
Yes. So I would love if you could share a little bit about Just Bookish for the people who don't know.
Yeah, we are this literary gathering space, community hub, bookstore, event space, artist space. Our motto, ethos, is culturally curated, radically influenced, locally inspired. Open 6 days out of a week. We got a little cafe, okay, a little bar, and we hope folks get into it.